Alright, in the last video we talked about different pairs of angles, and we learned about vertical angles, supplementary angles, complementary angles, and all of those things. Well, today what we're going to do is we're actually going to take those ideas and those definitions, and we're going to create theorems around them to help you solve different problems. So the first thing you need to know is a theorem. A theorem is a statement that you prove true. Okay? So, for example, our first theorem today is going to be the vertical angle theorem. And that states that vertical angles are congruent. Okay? So in your investigation the other night when I asked you to take a piece of paper and draw a pair of vertical angles and then fold them over, what you should have found is that this angle and this angle are congruent, and that this angle and this angle are congruent. Okay? And those markings that I have here mean congruent. So if you see a hash mark, okay, find the other one that has one hash mark, and that means they are congruent. In your book, they will have, they often have it as 1 versus 2, okay, and they just do the curves. All right, so just so you are aware what that means. Okay, but we know that the vertical angles are congruent according to this theorem. Our next theorem we're going to be discussing is Theorem 2.2, which is the congruent supplements theorem. So this states if two angles are supplements of the same angle or of congruent angles, then the two angles are congruent. And what I mean by that is if I have this angle and this angle, and then I have that angle over here. So I have 1, 2, 3. Okay. Basically, what I know and what I'm going to say is given or true is that angle 1, I'm going to say given angle 1 and angle 2 are supplementary, so they equal 180 degrees. All right, now I'm also going to say that angle 1 is congruent to angle 2, or not angle 2, sorry, excuse me, angle 3. Okay, so if angle 1 and angle 2 or angle 3 are congruent to each other, then I can say that angle 1 or that angle 2 and angle 3 are also supplementary. Okay, if you want further explanation on this particular theorem, the proof of that is on page 99, and you'll see what I mean by proof when we get to that point. All right, now we have a few more theorems to cover. So our next one is Theorem 2.3, and it's the right angles congruence theorem. So this is just stating that all right angles are congruent. They're all going to be 90 degrees, and we knew that already. The next theorem we have is Theorem 2.4, congruent supplements theorem. Okay, you can probably guess what this is. If two angles are supplementary to the same angle, or two congruent angles, then they are congruent. Okay, so if you have two angles that are supplementary or equal 180 degrees, then they are, and they're supplementary to a similar angle, then they're going to be congruent. All right, and then our last theorem is the congruent complements theorem, and that's theorem 2.5. If two angles are complementary to the same angle, or to congruent angles, then they are congruent. It's the same idea as the congruent supplements theorem, it's just dealing with 90 degrees instead of 180 degrees. Okay, so make sure that these theorems get down in your notebook and in your theorem postulate section of your binder or notebook, and we will work with these different theorems tomorrow.